Okay, going live. Hey everyone, we should be live. I'll usually just give it a couple of minutes to let folks see the notification and join the stream. But you're in the right place. It is BrisJS. It is today. We have got speakers. Everything's going right. Thanks for bearing with us with the late announcements. We just needed to try and wrangle everything and get everything scheduled and confirmed. So we're all good to go today, and looking forward to giving you a great couple of presentations and more to come in the following month, which we're almost halfway through. So yeah, we've got a couple of viewers coming on now. That's great. Stream looks awesome. And I can already mention that we, as usual, will be using Slido. Slido helps you post some questions and aggregate them through to myself, and I can then go and ask those questions of our speakers as well. So that way you can get that interactivity that you miss from in-person events. This is equivalent to passing around the microphone, using my voice instead. Hey, Ash Kid, good to have you along. Thank you very much for joining the stream. And yes, we got more viewers again. Who have we got in the chat? Indeed. Shout out all the folks in the chat. Say hi. Hi, Rowan. Nathan. I've got sound. Oh, that's good to know. I'm glad you can hear me. Okay, just flip back to our waiting slide. We only just give it 1 more minute and then we'll kick off. Make sure I'll go through the preamble quite quickly tonight. Hey, a couple more folks. Welcome, Liam, Dawood, Lauren, welcome. Good to have you all tuning in. Camilo joining from multiple places at once. Cool. Well, I might just kick off with the intros. All right. So yeah, for those that hey Karen, for those that are just joining, I did mention that we're utilizing Slido.com as per norm, just to try and get that extra bit of interactivity for you. That way you can ask our presenters some questions that you've got coming up. Don't hesitate, just jump in there as soon as you think about it. Excuse me. And we're then building them up, and at the end of their talk, I'll be able to go through and address that. If you can't reach that for any reason, then I am still watching the chat as well on the side here, trying to multitask, and I'll try and ferry your question over into the Slido for you as well. Cool. All right, let's kick off with our normal slide deck. We'll start with our acknowledgement of country. So we're all distributed. So please acknowledge the traditional owners of your location and pay respect to its elders past and present. In saying that, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of this site, which we broadcast from today, which is the Yugara and Bundjalung people. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present. And there's some awesome website resources to actually find out the different areas of country, and you should definitely go check those out. Quick Google will definitely direct you to the right place. And yeah, jump to our next slide. Meetup is where we're organizing that still. We've got the biggest opportunity to send out contacts and provide the details through there if anything changes. As with this particular event, apologies everyone for being so last minute, but took us a bit of extra time there to try and wrangle the information that we needed and get the confirmations that we need. So anyone who wasn't confirmed this month is now hopefully going to be jumping in as first up for our next month's presentation. So that helps smooth the way forward as well. But Meetup is still really, really helpful. If you RSVP there, you can kind of get subscribed to these notifications that I'll be sending out, and it helps us keep in touch. Code of conduct, if you're not aware, we've got a code of conduct fine under BrisJS.org. Please go have a look. It applies to everyone, including online, now that we're all distributed. We're making sure that this is a harassment-free experience for everyone. And if you do have any issues, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. We'll try and act as swiftly as possible. So usual badgering for presenters, please, everyone. As you can tell, we wouldn't be able to do this without you putting forward your talks. You are the real MVPs. So we want to make sure that we get these talk submissions pulled up, and we do that via our wonderful links that direct you to create an issue on our GitHub. If you're otherwise interested in a particular topic and you want to give potential speakers some ideas, you can also just put in a talk request, so we can tag that as well. So just let us know in the GitHub issue that you put up. You say, hey, look, I don't want to do a presentation particularly on this topic, but I'd be super keen if somebody presented it. We can post that to our community, and then somebody can jump in with that particular topic. Sometimes all it takes is a great idea that people have been waiting to present. So get those first-time presenters in there as well. Jumping right ahead there, you can see that's a bit of a preview, an older preview from April of our Meetup issues page. It's kind of what it looks like. It gets tagged by the talk length, the whether or not it's an upcoming candidate or then confirmed, and whether or not it's been volunteered or a topic requested, as I just mentioned before. So if you're interested in wanting to track in advance of any official announcement through Meetup, what's coming up and who the speakers will be, look at those tags and you'll know exactly what's going on. We've got other socials, as you know, we've been posting mostly through Twitter, and of course you're on YouTube right now watching our streams and past streams as well. And we've also got a Facebook page there, which is mostly serves to be able to send out notifications of the upcoming event. We've also got BrisJS.org, which is where we can try and put some of our info that we've been referring to there before, like our code of contact, and that is BrisJS.org. And you can find some links to some of the info about presenting and how to actually go and submit a topic and things like that as well. Another important feature of that is the job board. We like to keep it completely open for everyone in the community to post a job. If you're like, hey, I love working here, they're looking for new recruits, here is a bit of information about this role and how to get in touch, please put that up there. Send through a GitHub issue. I'll mark it as a job ad, so to speak, and it will go and appear on the site through the magic of the internet. So do check that out. If you're seeking jobs, do have a look there as well. We've got plenty of opportunities there. As you know, you're probably all getting hit up by recruiters every day as well. So this is no recruiter space, but we do encourage all folks to sort of internally refer to this community page. We're all remote, so we don't have too much to sponsor. We usually have the sponsorship of pizza and beer sodas and our venue and things like that. But now we need live streams. So PCCW Global has been sponsoring the Zoom Pro subscription. I work there as a system architect for the managed services release train of our company. And we're looking for some senior and mid JavaScript devs to help us to join my system architecture and engineering team. That would be fantastic to get some more local folks joining us. We're a truly global company. We've got folks from all over the world, part of the same team or other teams. And it's a really cool experience actually to be able to enjoy that kind of level of globalization and create software on a global scale. So it'd be awesome if you want to come join me. Please have a look at some of those links. Or just reach out to me and I'll tell you all about it. It'd be really cool to have you. Tonight, as you will have seen from our initial meetup listing, we've got a couple of talks for you. So we've got creating an AR application with React Native and ViroMedia, thanks to Camilo, who'll be presenting to us tonight. First up, we're also going to hear from Alex, who's going to give us his background on how to start coding from scratch. So if you're in that position and you really want to, get inspired to jump on this coding thing, and it's the first time you've kind of joined us, or maybe you've just been lurking and just been trying to absorb knowledge, this will hopefully give you the motivation to push you over the edge and get started into your coding career. And then we'll be closing and doing any of our online polls. All good. I'm going to stop my share now and invite Camilo to turn on his video and unmute himself.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Hi. I will see if I can turn your video on. Yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
We can see. We can't see you, but we can see your screen sharing.
Okay.
Love to see your face.
I enable my camera. Can you see me now, Kevin?
Can't see you yet. I will click this button, and that should hopefully help you out. There we go. We have you.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Good night. Thank you for joining us. My name is Camilo Buitrago. I'm a software engineer from Colombia. And today, I would like to share with you a little bit of my experience with React Native, and also something that I discovered not a long time ago, that is augmented reality with ViroMedia. Like sometimes you think that really you need a lot of experience, or really you need a deep comprehension of augmented reality. In the past, I worked with Visual and Unity, but I was thinking like, okay, what do we have for React Native? And then I found this ViroMedia. Then I would like to introduce you a little bit with this technology. Then let's go ahead. This is my social media, my webpage. If you want to follow me, please, I will be happy to. And today we are going to talk about augmented reality with React Native and Viro. Okay. First, I would like to give a small introduction of React Native. I think that most of you are like really familiar with React Native because we are JavaScript developers, most of us. React Native basically is a platform that allows us to develop mobile applications for Android and iOS. Then was created by Facebook, which gives us a really, really good support. And the community is so big. Like 2 days ago, I was checking the GitHub and there were more than 800,000 downloads. Like, that is really incredible. And join with that React Native, I would like to talk and put focus a little bit today in ViroMedia. Like ViroMedia is like a small library for React that allows us to create some experience for augmented reality really without a lot of code. That is really simple. You just create a scene and you have really, really good features. Things that we can create with ViroMedia is like, we can track real world objects, for example, planes, because this ViroMedia try to solve the problem that, okay, in the past, we developers have a lot of issues like, okay, we develop for iOS or we develop for Android. In the worst of the cases, you have to create two software, one for one, with one mobile app for one, and one mobile app for Android and one for iOS. This is what React Native tried to solve here. And also Viro tried to, okay, let's try to create the AR core and AR kit. That is, one is for Android, the second one is for iOS. And let's put one library for React Native. Then we have plant detections with Viro. Also, we can use markers like imagine, you can recognize some picture and deploy, for example, one 3D model in your reality, which is really good and really is not really hard code to do that, which is really good. And also you have some effects. For example, if you would like to put some physics, gravity, and some movements in your app, that is also possible just with ViroMedia. Then everything that if you would like to check, just in the page, they have really good documentation. Just let me share a little bit. This is the main page of them. Basically, they have a good support. You can see some examples of everything that they have. Really, it's a good platform. I have done a couple of things with them, and really I like it. Okay, let's go ahead with a bit of Viro. I would like to create one small app here, just to deploy one small object using augmented reality. I would like to say that Viro has like two main platforms, Viro React, Viro Core. Our focus is Viro Core. Viro React is more for native for Android. Okay. Okay, how to start with ViroMedia? Really, you can check they have a really quick start. We just 5 minutes, and we have 2 commands to install our CLI library for React Viro, and just with this command, init, and create the name of the project. We'll have one document and one project that will help us, and we can just join start, and we'll get our augmented reality experience. In addition, I like this, that is in ngrok, that if someone knows about ngrok, they allow us to put like, give access from outside as a public IP for outside. And you can just use your phone instead of be connected, because it's sometimes hard. You want to try some augmented reality in your virtual Android or in your virtual iOS, the camera is like, it's a fake camera. Instead of you use this, that is like use export for React Native, but Viro work with CLI, which is a really good advantage. Then I would like to show what look like one project using Viro. Really, when you create a project with Viro, you will get basically this structure: the Android folder, the iOS folder, and they create two main files. That is our scene and our AR scene. I forgot to say that Viro also works very, very good with virtual reality. That is a mixed virtual reality. You can create experience with virtual reality and also with augmented reality. And to run, basically, you just need to use the command. I already create one. Just start. Okay, we have one URL. That is what, with this URL, you just need to download the Viro app on your mobile. Please don't do it, all of you, because some of the restriction of in Jailbreak is like if you have a lot of connection at the same time, the port is blocked. Then let me share the screen of my phone. I have here one iPhone that I would like to share. Okay, cool. This is the app that we need to open up here directly. Okay, in a second, because it's not showing, it's not professional. Okay, now refresh. What do you need to? You just the URL here, and you will see the augmented reality experience. Just one recommendation, one issue that I have at the start is that I try to use the HTTP here in the address, and I couldn't work with that. That's the only time consuming here. But probably when you try to load the first time, take time. Like it's loading. But when you get the experience, probably is like you can see things like this. Just one hello world in 5 minutes. That is the app by default that you create. Another good feature that I like is you just maybe just need to change one small line of code. And you can check your phone. Okay. You check your phone, reload. And you get again. Sorry, I have one problem here. Like if I am using one app that allow me to share, but don't allow me to save. And I have to do it manually to save. Check again. Hello. This is one of the features. You can just create text. One good thing, I would like to show a little bit what do we have here after this project. Hello, BrisJS. You have all the features that you use in the React Native by using augmented reality. By default, they create class components. And the main thing that you have in here in Vero is the scene. Everything go inside the scene. You can check in the documentation, which is really good. And you decide, okay, let's just project a text with scale, with position, basically like all 3D, like Unity, all this X, Y, G setup, you can use that. Perfect. Good. Also, you can project objects like 3D objects. I will have one here, just one example. 1 second. Save. Check, reload. Yes, this is the most, you have to wait a lot sometimes. But it's good because I can use my iPhone here, but also I can use one Android to project the same experience. And you can check how that looks in Android, or how that looks in iOS. In this case, you can see just one small cube that I created in 3D Max. And Vero offers some like default animations. In this case, I just create one small rotation. That is one small rotation. But also you can create like different animation. For example, you can move, you can change the opacity, and you can scale. That is some of the options. Also, you can work with your own animation. Like for example, you have one character and the character is running. You can use that for your augmented reality. I have one small here that is one robot that I have been working on my core course. Just check. Hello. Okay, sorry, I'm not projecting my screen. Sometimes, depending on how big and how heavy is the animation, take a bit long. But for example, in this case, this is a robot that I created in 3D Max, and there you have three animations. Like first is moving one side, the other side, and rotation. Okay, going to the detail, a little bit more of our code. Really is like the object that I have, the material, and the animation. Then we have them through the one scene, that is the object. You can create more than one, and you can share, combine, create different structure, and combine with your React Native code. That is one of the advantages. Then you can see that you can create a one augmented reality experience with really not a lot of time. You don't have to code too much. Yes, I mean, if you want to create better experience, you will need to do a better job, but this is a good start. And Vero offer you a lot of tools that in other case, you will need to create one by one. And that is what I like this framework. Let's go back to the presentation. I know, I think that I show a little fast the code that I can show you, but that is in a big range that I want to show you about Vero and React Native. And then I would like to know if you have questions. I think that you have questions. Maybe if I go really fast, you can ask. I am also starting with this Vero, but I have, until now, I like the experience. I think that is not really difficult. If you know React Native, just combine, use it, find good models, good 3D models, that's it.
Awesome. Thanks very much for taking us through that. I definitely would like to play with that. I think
No,
there's a lot of potential there, sure.
Yeah, I saw it like, okay, if you see, I saw one good about Black Panther, just with the screen, and was really, really, really good. Like, okay, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive to be able to just map the 3D models onto a detected plane like that. When we had a previous presentation on Expo, for React Native, and that was probably a few BrisJS ago now. And when I went and had a look to see if there was any AR support for Expo, and it turns out that they deprecated it, and it looks like that is one of our questions as well. So that segues me really nicely into some of the posted questions here. So the one that's here is Expo for React Native deprecated in its ARKit support in SDK 37. So, but no way to incorporate something like ViroMedia. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can answer that specifically. Have you played with Expo and ViroMedia by any chance?
Not really. No,
Yeah.
I work more like the whole time in CLI. Really.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah, if you're doing React Native natively, then that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've seen in one of our previous talks that Expo can be, quite helpful to get started and sort of provide a bit of a library of things like that as well.
But if you think like a lot of people use Expo because you can try directly on your phone, just reading the QR. Here is quite similar. You just need to read to get the URL and use on your phone. I mean, I have one iPhone for tests, and also I can check on one Android. It's good. They work in both, which is quite similar to Expo in that way.
Yeah, awesome. One of the other questions that we've got here is: have you found that ViroMedia has good community support?
Oh, okay. I have been searching. The GitHub is not really active on the social media, but I have checked like a lot of questions, answer, and yes, they have answered. They have like support, but in the media like Facebook, Instagram, like the posts are a bit old. I checked. I think that the last update that they have was like February this year. The last update for the GitHub, unless for the Viro React. Then it's not really old, it's like 8 months.
Yep. So it's a pretty new project, so to speak, but it's got probably a small maintaining crew, which is probably ripe for people to start contributing to, right? Everyone can start adding some work to the GitHub there. One of the other questions was, is ViroMedia free or is it subscription based? I'm assuming free.
In the past, you need to create one API key, but they removed that like 1 year ago. Then right now,
okay.
I haven't used it. I haven't used any subscription really. I have just used it. I don't have any problem really with that.
Okay, so yeah, it's gone fully open source. Cool, awesome. I think that's all. I don't know if anyone else wanted to jump in there with any last second questions. I'm staring at the stream now as well. No, you've got a lot of, yeah, this is awesome. That's great to see. Yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, I'm keen to see any of the other projects. If you've got any links for us to check out or download to our phones, we can always share some links for people to see the experimentation that you've been producing. People can learn, the community can learn from you.
Okay, thank you. Really, I am planning a couple of projects in the future because yes, I would like. I have this. I have been working on tutorial for one course that I have in Colombia, and it's like, okay, I like it, but right now I'm working with React Native, and I feel more comfortable with React Native. I would like to see this thing. I'm learning tomorrow, and yes, I have a couple of plans in the future. That's like, okay, let's make a research. Hopefully in the future, we are going to have a couple of things to share.
Nice, good R&D. That sounds awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. A big virtual round of applause from everyone and myself. Thank you very much for your presentation today.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
hopefully
you for giving me the opportunity to be here. Sorry.
Not a problem. No, I'm interrupting. Sorry. I'll try and send a bunch of links around to on the meetup page, and we'll add some of those resources so people can find your notes and the ViroMedia links and things like that. Anything you might want to share, so we can send that to our audience as well. But yeah, thanks again.
Okay, just one extra observation that I find regards to the question of the community. In the documentation, they say this is the link to the assets that you can use for the test. Like when you create the Viro in 5 minutes, the assets are not like available. They offer you like a small box, but I have to create my own because the assets are not available. Like the link is not working. It's the only thing that maybe I think that you will find like, what is the link? A lot of people have complained about that the link doesn't exist for some resource. That's it. That's the only extra comment. Thank you, Kevin.
Makes sense. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so if you can provide your own 3D assets to put into your first try, that still works. Persevere, I think, is the answer. It's experimental, but really cool.
Yeah. Yes, I feel the same. Like, okay, this is cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So a bunch of folks on the chat cheering you on. Rounds of applause. So thanks very much. Okay, cool. We'll crack on with our next speaker. Thanks so much again. We will get Alex to show his face on our stream tonight. Alex, are you there?
Yeah, can you please enable my video? Oh, yeah, cool.
Yep. There we go.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Camilo. It was very interesting to watch. I'll probably try it.
Thank you.
So briefly, what I want to talk about is how to start coding from scratch. So about me. So my name is Alex. I'm 36 years old, and I've been thinking about coding probably like for the last 3 years. And 5-6 months ago, I just decided to change careers, and I had a huge influence from my friends, especially my friend who 7 years ago, she started from scratch, and now she's a senior software engineer in Sydney. So what actually happened? I was like, I need to change something. I want to bring changes into my life because I was happy with my previous work, and I liked everything, with the exception is there was no challenge. Everything was pretty much like on a daily basis and fixed within a minute. So, and then I was thinking about coding, but I had that kind of a imposter syndrome, even though I hadn't even started doing anything. So, and I had a conversation with my friend, and she told me how I need to start. So first of all, I just started learning basic stuff on some available platforms like a free code camp, YouTube, and then I realized it's actually learnable. And then I started being more brave, started doing coding challenges and stuff, and I started realizing it's actually working. And then eventually I realized I probably need to spend more time. And with the help of my wife, I resigned from my full-time work and started doing some casual hours and spending more time on coding. So the idea of this talk is to encourage people to be more probably brave in some situations if they want to change, especially when it comes to coding. It's very beneficial. What is important? So first of all, what I found is you need to be able to find time, especially if you're a full-time worker. So I got influenced by some motivational coding speakers on YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn, and they pretty much all keep saying that you need to find your own time. So the best time is probably early in the morning. So I started coding like a crazy. So first probably like 2 hours a day, then probably 5 hours a day, and on weekends all day long. So what is important when you just started? You just start not just doing tutorials, you just start doing something, making it, and just come up with something, probably with your ideas. So in order to build something, you need to think about something and just embody your idea, anything. And even if you do just tutorials, it's quite useful. Even if you just follow tutorial, just make something new, introduce something new, and then you can say, this is my achievement for today. What I found is a lot of things. By nature, I'm a perfectionist, so I like everything is done perfectly, and that was an obstacle on the way. So, and later on, I kind of read articles about it, and it's there is a definition for it. It's called premature optimization. So when you try to make everything as good as you can, probably as perfect as you can, but that's not the way it works. So you need to make it work, then you make it better, and then you make it fast. So the idea is just to make it work, and then you can start building it, making it better. So the other thing is, especially before, at the moment I'm doing a boot camp, I call it boot camp. So when you start comparing yourself with someone else, I think even when you're at a senior level, mid-level, or at any stage, you always compare yourself with someone, and there is always someone better. So, and you can easily develop some sort of imposter syndrome when you don't really believe you are capable of doing what you're doing at the moment. And just never compare yourself with anyone else. Just make yourself better by doing something. So coding is a beautiful journey where you can see your improvement pretty much every day. Just anything really, especially when you do your own, I don't know, basic landing page, or you solve for you probably critical coding challenge. So before, my mistake was before I started making projects, I was doing fundamentals, watching tutorials, and I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. And I've done fundamentals, 3 different courses on JavaScript fundamentals, and it was a mistake. Probably I should have started building something from really first day, just because when you see the fruit of your work, it helps you more. So my plan in the beginning was I would prepare for a boot camp in order to be able to study on a boot camp, because some people think they go to the boot camp and they will learn everything, but in the real world it actually doesn't work that way. If you want to keep up with the others and never compare yourself to anyone else, you just need to be prepared. And I think it applies to every study. You need to do some pre-learning, and then it will help you later. So I think personally that you need to learn fundamentals first, but probably not like I did like a crazy. I did it 3 times, but learn fundamentals in a way that you just get the basics, and only then you can move further. So if it comes to JavaScript, probably the best way is to do fundamentals and be able to do something more in JavaScript, and only then to start using frameworks or learn frameworks like Camilo introduced to us. So in terms of motivation, it is quite important at any stage of your learning or coding journey to be motivated. I highly recommend some podcasts, which I'm going to share you and show us that they're very influential, in my opinion. So the first one I would recommend is probably this one. Which is a podcast called JavaScript Java, and the number is 442 with Danny Thompson. You can find Danny Thompson on a LinkedIn everywhere. He's just basically spreading awareness that everyone can code in the world. And He's a very good person, and even if you reach him, text him, message him, he's always replying, which is, even though he's got like 100,000 people on Twitter, which is quite interesting. So that's what I found in a coding community. Everyone is helping and willing to help. The other person, the other podcast, which is highly motivational, especially for beginner, is this one. It's this one. So where Sam tells his story, how he started and how actually Danny Thompson influenced him and inspired him how to start his coding journey. And the other one, which I found probably the best one podcast I've ever listened to, is this one. So again, it's by Tony Thompson, and especially this one. So in this podcast, Matthew tells his story in a very honest way. So he is basically saying how he failed and then how he started again. And I think this example can be beneficial for everyone. So just never give up and just do your best. Also, in my case, I had a huge support from my wife and from my friends. I never heard from anyone that you should stop doing it, and probably that's not a good idea. Everyone is very supportive. So also, in order to keep going with your motivation, you have to make those small projects, and they're very helpful. I would highly recommend using platforms like JavaScript 30. So where every day you can create a small project, basically. They're not that easy for beginners, but by doing something, you're not just learning, you see how you can improve on a regular basis and what you can get from vanilla JavaScript. And then you basically improve your language vocabulary, your programming language vocabulary. So also I would recommend do websites like Code Wars, LeetCode, and HackerRank, when you can start from solving small coding challenges. That's very beneficial and helpful. So who do you need to follow in order to see how you're progressing, in order to see which resources you need to use? First of all, I would highly recommend, if you still don't have Twitter or LinkedIn, it is highly desirable to have both. What I found that Instagram, Facebook, and other resources, they're not as good as Twitter and LinkedIn, in my opinion. In LinkedIn, I can actually show you, not this one, but I may share it later. There is a very good, this one. So there is a very good way how you can use your LinkedIn as a developer or just a beginner. So you can build a platform for your future house, and they will be helpful to find a job. Also, you can follow many people. For example, these two people. So this is Danny Thompson. He's actually got like 6 different videos on how to use LinkedIn, and he personally helped 700 people to find a job. And Taylor, he's a hiring manager. So actually, he's looking for people to get them employed. So I would highly recommend to watch this one if you still have concerns about your LinkedIn and you want to improve it. So what about Twitter? So before I started coding, I never used Twitter. So now I have Twitter and I use different resources, follow different people, and it doesn't really matter who you follow. It's more what you can get from it. So for example, just before this meeting, I found this guy, and he's sharing resources which you can use. So that's mostly for not just for beginners, basically. It's like everything in one place. Some of these I already mentioned. So how I set my goals and how would I recommend to set goals for beginners? And it's just really just be reasonable. So don't just think that you can do everything. Just do it within your skills at the moment. You can always come back and just make it better. Make it a habit. So let's say on a Twitter, you can find a hashtag which is 100 days coding. So you just do something every day, and just basically it's like your diary, and you post it what you've done today, what you're going to do tomorrow, and then you always come back probably in 3 months and just say what you've done, and you see like, oh, at that moment I thought I knew nothing, but actually I knew already something. And it's probably my inspiration when I just thinking about, it's like probably I haven't learned anything today, but I know much better than I knew yesterday. I would recommend also to try something new, especially when it comes to JavaScript. There's always something which you can learn on a regular basis. It never ends. In order to think in a programming language, I think especially for beginners, you just need to create your own languages, which is a language, it's like a bridge, it's like a pseudocode from your head towards what you're going to type on the screen. Sometimes when you just type out of the book, it doesn't work, so you can't learn from the book. Just be yourself. Once you know what to say basically with your mouth, then you can put it down on a computer. Also, I would highly recommend to think what would you like to build. That will help you to get the idea what you want to learn, because sometimes I struggle, let's say, oh, what I want to do next. I've done this one. I challenged myself and I want to do something more. Just find something. There's so many resources on the internet. Just to find something. It doesn't have to be your personal project. Just make it better and then just start from it. Also, what I found very beneficial for me personally and for other people, I'm like I don't know, I try to influence everyone. I've already influenced a couple of people, including my sister. She's even though she's a successful accountant now, she's spending most of her free time learning how to code. The thing is, because she's only started recently, I'm pretty much kind of her mentor. And by explaining her some basic stuff, I just keep repeating it for myself. And I understand that actually, probably I need to learn this more, or I know this, so I can move further. And altogether, I probably encourage 5 different people. And it is a good hobby to start, especially in terms of your brain activity. And at this stage, when we've got pandemic and people, they're basically locked in their apartments, what else you can do except for physical exercises? Just think about something. Even if you're not going to be a programmer, you're not going to code professionally, it's just a good hobby to start. And lastly, I would like to say thank you for giving me this chance to share my ideas on how to learn coding from scratch. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking us through all that. It's awesome to hear folks' everyone's different entries into the software industry. So I think this really would ring home with anyone who's sort of struggling to get crack into their learning journey, or if they're starting out and wondering how they can get to the point where they feel confident enough to take on an associate level software engineer position or something like that. So I think there's a lot of relevance here for folks starting out and reaching out to meetups like us and seeing exactly what they should be learning and what's current and what are people excited about. So I really appreciate you being able to take the time and giving us an insight into what you're doing. The questions have been going crazy. So I've got plenty of crazy questions to go through with you. So what have we got here? Okay, let's start from the top because why not? So one of the first questions here is, how do you continue your passion for developing when getting bogged down in software problems? So this is obviously someone's been, bashing their head against particular implementation issues and feeling demoralized.
I know the feeling. So first of all, so I realized at one point that I literally, I was like, I was thinking about that, what to do. I can't go any further. I can't move, and I couldn't sleep. I woke up in the morning. I was like crazy. So and then I realized, look, if Google doesn't help me, so I've got lots of friends. And I just called my friend, he explained to me what to do in just 1 second. The problem wasn't that difficult. It's just because I was literally hitting the wall. I couldn't see anything else. So sometimes you just need to take a time and maybe ask someone just to look at it. Maybe it's not what you think. That's not the end of the world. Just ask someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Get that external viewpoint. Makes sense. Absolutely. The next one in here was, how did you get the motivation to learn outside of your 9-to-5 job?
Because I've been thinking about for 3 years every day, and I couldn't find the nerve to start. And then also probably I should have mentioned, when I resigned from my full-time job, I was kind of, it was a big challenge, and I went for a 10-day meditation course, which is called Vipassana. If you never heard it, just Google it. It's quite popular. It is difficult. It's probably more difficult than coding.
That's saying something.
So, and there, even though you meditate for 10 days, you literally realize what is important for you. So, so what you want to do with your life. You've got lots of time to think. And then you realize, no, probably I need to, basically after that meditation, I completely changed the course of my life.
It's very inspirational. So that's where the motivation comes from. You've reached deep down inside your soul and you said, this is exactly what I'd rather be doing. That's fantastic. One of the other questions here is, do you think formal enrollment in coding boot camps are a good starter for this industry, or is it equivalent to doing it yourself?
The problem is discipline and structure. So it's like if you watch any motivational coding people, they always say there is no need to do bootcamp. You can always learn it on your own. But what is bootcamp? Bootcamp is basically, if you go there with no knowledge, you're gonna get struggling because you will be comparing yourself with anyone else. But the problem is, probably some people there, they've been struggling for a year. They couldn't learn anything in their opinion. But when they enrolled in a bootcamp, they realized they're ready to work. And so I would say before you enroll to any bootcamp, you need to spend some time. I can't say it's 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, any time until you feel like you're ready. Also in the bootcamp, so you can always drop out if you feel like you're not happy. So if it's not what you want, they give you some time to decide. But for me, bootcamp is working well. I'm happy with what's actually happening because it's pushing you. I'm like a crazy, like 10, 12 hours a day coding. when I was learning on my own, you a bit kind of, oh, I can't do it. Probably I need to look at the solution. They don't give you solutions. They just give you a task which you don't know. They give you like a brief introduction to the subject, and then they give you homework which has never been covered, and you have all the one night to get it done. And it's close to real world, I would say.
Check the do or die out requirements that you kind of go through.
Yeah,
hopefully, you go ahead.
It's probably so that's where you understand when you can push your limits, and then that's where you understand, oh, probably I need to call my friend, because it's where you actually learning what is the real world of programming.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was going to say is hopefully you can instead you can sort of find yourself in a supportive team environment, so that you can lean on those other friends that the other colleagues that you've got there eventually.
Yeah,
and then build off each other.
Yeah. Also, it's all about community. So you meet so many different people from different backgrounds, and they pretty much thinking in the same way. Just a bunch of people thinking the same way. It's quite good. It's a good experience. It is not cheap, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other questions we've got in here is, how do you objectively compare your improvements from one project to another to track your learning? So how do you know you're improving? If you kind of only got yourself there to check it, or maybe you do need to get external reviews, how would you go and track your progress? So
it's quite easy. So if I'm able to fix the same issue next time, that's an improvement. So if I am improved, just if I can fix one bug one day, so 365 days, that's basically I'm able to fix in the future 365 bugs, which is probably like a ton amount of time. So yep. I would say it's like if you like reading, so then you can find any typos, mistakes. You don't have to read, just skim it. Same improvement, I think. So any project you do, it is easy. You actually better. You're spending less time. First of all, you use less Google. Probably you don't need to call your friend anymore. So it's all about how much time you spend. And again, sometimes you have a solution in your head, but it just takes time to translate it into coding language.
Yep, absolutely. This one's pretty straightforward. What would you recommend as an easy approach for a first project when you're learning from scratch? So if someone's stuck, they're like, I don't know what to build, but I'd love to build something.
Tic-tac-toe or calculator or anything. It depends. So first of all, I would highly recommend to start from HTML and CSS. They're both important. You can't run JavaScript without them. It would be just boring. So if you think like JavaScript is not going well, just start learning CSS, and then you can come back to JavaScript to use what you've just learned in CSS.
Absolutely, you get the trinity of web development there. So you can keep it fundamental and make sure that you deal with your presentation, your semantics, as well as your interactivity. So yeah, great advice. Would you recommend seeking out an industry mentor?
Yes. It is pretty much impossible if you don't have anyone who would help you. In my case, I'm quite happy. Pretty much all my friends, they are working in IT related industry. And so when I started, it was absolutely important to call someone and just ask, especially when it comes to Git, because it is not easy for a beginner to set up your Git. When it comes to just easy stuff, just to start. So, and then you can always do it on your own once you're shown how to do it. And also, just to see how you're going, how you improve. Sometimes it's not clear for yourself what actually is someone. Let's say if you have a small project, you send someone not necessarily a person who works in a IT industry or who is a programmer, and they think like, oh, really? You've just done this? Everyone is just using it. It's nothing, but it took you probably like 3 weeks to build it. So, but if person works as a front-end developer, they would look at it. Oh, actually, you've done well. It is quite good. It's a huge improvement. So I would say it just right people need to look at what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So you get that objective advice, that kind of benchmark that you can learn on. Cool. The next question in here was, have you seen any benefits in participating in a hackathon? I don't know how many hackathons are on at the moment and during COVID, but the question still stands.
I haven't done any, but
enough.
I would like to. At the moment, I was going to, and then I started bootcamp, and a bootcamp, it's quite impossible even now. So let's say after this, probably I have to spend another 3-4 hours just to finish the homework. So I think it's quite
intense.
First of all, with the hackathon, they're still running, and it just again, you meet lots of different people. You can see what you can do, what you're capable. It doesn't mean you have to be the best. Again, you just make yourself better. Don't compare yourself with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. It's not a competition, and in a way like I don't know, like Olympic Games or something. This is just, again, it's more like a fun. So you see what you can do. Probably some people will notice what you can do, but you can probably, if you're not successful this time, take another one. It is beneficial, I think. Yeah.
Cool. What was it? So there's one in here. I think somebody's curious about what your previous career was.
It is quite interesting. I'm originally from Russia, and in Russia, I used to work as a firefighter and a safety officer. Then I moved to Australia.
Awesome.
Then I moved to Australia, and I worked in private schools as a pool operations manager, which is it's an interesting job. Sometimes challenging, but not as challenging as coding. So nothing to do with the JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. But before I started coding, I could only probably use YouTube and Zoom, and that's it.
Awesome. Have you been lucky enough to land any internships or associate level software engineer roles while you're going through bootcamp? So you wouldn't have any time for that.
No, I had a bit of experience actually. I had an internship for 1 month, which ended just before bootcamp. It was quite interesting. It was done remotely, but I didn't have a chance to build something major. Most of the time I was basically learning, and they would be giving me tasks to complete, and it was quite interesting. And I was just lucky that I got it.
Awesome. Sounds good. How has COVID changed your learning options? Well, I assume everything's very remote.
Look, my bootcamp is actually online. And I think when it comes to learning, it's actually the good thing is we in Queensland, it didn't impact as much. So basically, you could go anywhere you want, except for sometimes when there is a lockdown. And learning when you're programming basically happens close to your computer. You can't go anywhere. You can go in the park.
Yep.
And so it's actually quite useful. Even let's say we only have time off on weekends when we do boot camp, and if we go somewhere, I'll just take my laptop, and if I need to complete something, I just do it. Or let's say I based on the Sunshine Coast. So let's say if we go to Gold Coast, my wife is driving and I'm still doing something on a laptop. So I'm basically saving time so we can go out.
Awesome. Cool. One of the other questions here is, hold on, I gotta get my list sorted. Have you been focusing entirely on the web, or have you started native code or app development projects?
No, yeah. As I previously told everyone, my idea is I want to be good at JavaScript. I want to understand actually how it works. And in the bootcamp, we will start learning React soon. And we started learning Ruby, which is actually, it's easier than JavaScript. But I'm ready for it now. So let's say even 2 months ago or last month, I was concerning that probably it's not the best time, because anyway, if you don't really get the basics and you go to frameworks and then later on you'll have to go back to basics, what is the point if you didn't get it in the first place? So it's all about fundamentals, really. It's like learning a foreign language. If you speak on academic level, people in the street will never understand you. You have to be grounded. You have to have conversational skills, so which is the basic for programming.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not sure if there was any overlap with what we talked about before, but how do you collect feedback on the things you make? I'm assuming because you're making everything in the bootcamp at the moment, you're going to be getting direct feedback from your tutors.
So first of all, let's say we made tic-tac-toe. So it's not the hardest project, but you can spend as much time as you have on it. It's like there's so many things you can do. I'm still doing it. And so first of all, what I do, I send it to my mom or to my sister, and they're like, oh, it's good. Oh, it's quite good. Oh, I show it to my daughter. Oh, it's nice. And it's a small feature, it takes you like probably 1 minute to do, but people think it's actually takes you more. So the things which you can't see takes more time. So
absolutely.
I think the most important feedback for me is from my family. So they see actually I'm working hard.
Yeah, that's for sure. One of these questions is more of a the question author's experience. So they say, I find it hard to find real world examples to work on for learning opportunities rather than the usual to-do app. What examples did you work on to start learning?
It depends. I think the best thing is to, if you want to build something, as first of all, you need to think what you want to build. So you have an idea, and then you can't find anything to build it, and then you start building it. So it could be anything you want. Really, it doesn't really matter. So I don't know. Even a calculator. What if you want to do a calculator with pictures which are changing on a display on the screen? Anything. It's just something which you think you probably need it, and you want to make it. So you can't find it. Just make it. So it will be your unique application of anything, or even the landing page or fan site page. Anything. So, something which you want to do, not like necessarily it's something which someone tells you on the YouTube or on the Twitter. It's just anything. And again, you can just find a tutorial on a YouTube, build it from scratch with them, and just change it, make it look like you want it be, and then that's it. It doesn't have to be unique. It just makes you do something, and that's it.
Cool. There's another question in here. People new to tech, it's overwhelming. What foundational programming did you learn? It says JS, Python, C, or other. I'm assuming JS primarily. Yeah,
primarily JavaScript. Yeah. Straight away when I called my friend, we had a conversation on phone probably like two hours, and I'm basically following her path. So how she started, she was learning for 6 months, and then she did bootcamp, and then she eventually landed a job in one of the biggest companies in Australia as a junior developer, and then she changed job because that's not what she expected. And I was like, really? So, and previously she didn't have any background in coding. And same, I'm just basically I'm not inventing anything new. I'm just following someone. So and I think that's the way. You just choose the right example and just do not exactly the same. It cannot be done. Everyone has got different situation and different tools. So just use whatever you can, and that's the way it works.
Absolutely. There's one last question, and you could potentially not answer this one. It says, if you don't mind sharing, what has been your financial outlay for learning programming?
My understanding is it's not about money. So money, it's not the goal. It just comes with what you want to achieve. So if you only focus on money, so let's say you have in your mind like a certain amount, it's not going to work. So you can achieve that number, but you'll just get stuck. So
I think the question's focusing around how much was it for training and for courses and things like that.
Oh, okay. So with the courses, so first of all, so before the bootcamp, everything is pretty much for free. So you can use a free code camp. You can use YouTube. I would recommend Udemy courses. You can subscribe. I think it's like $30 a month, or you can just buy courses. I would recommend don't buy courses because you will never do them. So, or just, it's like books. So you buy books, they sit on your shelf and you never read them. So only buy something if you actually do it, or you've done it, buy next one. So don't buy just because the course is on deal. So probably the easiest solution is to do a free code camp. It's absolutely free. And
awesome.
With the bootcamp, everyone is different. Everyone's situation is different. You just have to calculate, because you can't work full time. You can't pretty much work at all and it's a 3 months study. You have to be ready for it.
What bootcamp platform did you use?
General Assembly.
General Assembly. Okay, that answers the last question that just popped in. That was a marathon, but thank you for bearing with us. We had a lot of questions from the audience.
It's just if someone wants to ask me any other questions, so they can find me on my Twitter or LinkedIn, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Maybe you need help in something related to coding. I'm happy to help. It's always good to help someone. You feel like you're actually doing something for the community, and community once helped me. So thank you.
No, it sounds great. I think that's a good opportunity, and I'm sure people want to be able to connect. I've also found different Slack groups and communities around that are very passionate about the same sort of thing. So there's Brisbane developers and the Brisbane Slack, that they're also another option if you're interested. So reach out to me if you need the hookup for that. There's lots of different options out there. So do keep in touch with your BrisJS community, and we'll see what we can do to make sure that you can get answers to some of the questions you need. And thanks again, Alex. That's fantastic. I really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us and everyone at home. And hopefully we'll hear some more success stories and some more talks about the things you've been building very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Cool beans. I'm going to share my final slide and let everyone know that you can reach us and find us here. If you haven't had a look at our Twitter before, that is the handle BrisJS and BrisJS.org, as I've introduced you before. You can also reach out to me on Twitter at KevDesign, and KevinV@BrisJS.org is how you can reach me in my BrisJS context. But thanks very much for everyone's attention. I think it's been a really good night of sharing. It's one of those more personal approaches at the moment where we'd be able to go through and kind of get that feedback. So it's kind of nice to have that that little I don't know, personal experiences shared kind of thing instead of a lot of the more academic talks. So we had a bit of both, which is fantastic. So yeah, if you have your experiences that you want to share as perhaps as an expert or somebody just joining in the industry, you know, we're here to hear it. So if you want to be able to put together a talk for everyone, it's as easy as just being able to share your past history. You don't necessarily have to construct a massive slide deck of resources either, but we can help you either way. Do reach out and pop something up on the BrisJS GitHub, post an issue up there, and you know, we'll treat that as a conversation and be able to prepare your next talk. We are taking speakers for next month. It's going to come up real fast. It's already the 11th through October, so we want to be able to make sure that we can get the announcement out at least a week before. It's tricky sometimes to try and get everyone's confirmations and line everything up, finding replacements if people have scheduling conflicts. So try and make sure that you can get in there a bit earlier as possible. But we want to hear from anyone who's trying to go through, you know, perhaps needs a couple of months worth of prep and just wants to be in the list so they can keep the conversation going. That's always a good thing as well. Yeah, so I appreciate everything, all of our speakers again, all of your questions, everybody, everyone on the stream. I'm going to open that tab again so I can hear what's being talked about in there. Oh, hey, there's some cool stuff being posted in there. Front-end mentors is another one in there that I'm seeing. There's some folks that have been, you know, talking about the different computer science courses and backgrounds. Yeah, talking about CSS and JS, that's another thing, right? Like you end up learning your HTML, CSS, and you got to go and relearn it if you're looking at some of those different approaches using React or pre-compilers. There's lots of stuff out there. The web is a constantly evolving platform, and yeah, it's tricky for people getting into the industry of just exactly what they should be learning. Start with the basics, folks. There's a lot going on there. Okay, cool. I'm going to sign off and let everyone enjoy their evening. Please feel free to share this this live stream on its recording with anyone you think might be interested, your friends, and we'll see you next month and for another BrisJS and hopefully more awesome talks. Appreciate it, everyone.